This pattern is by Sheep's Dog Fleece, and I'm going to put a tutorial, I'm going to put a link down below this tutorial to let you know where you can go and find the pattern, how to get this, and a link to all the other cool stuff that she's got pattern wise for ponies and stuff. So go check out Sheep Dog's Fleece's link down below. And thank you, Rachel, for letting me do this tutorial. I just love your little unicorns. Okay, so for this project, we're going to need a color that you choose to make for the body, which the whole thing, all the color, the main color, you will use less than a skein of yarn, so you really don't need a lot. But if I was you, if you're going to make this project, I would at least get one skein, or make sure you have most of a skein of yarn to make the main part of the body. And you can get buttons to use for the eyes, which is what the original pattern calls for, but I didn't have any buttons that fit this, and it's so easy to make crochet eyes, so I just went ahead and made crochet eyes, and I'll show you how to do that part of my video. But you can always get buttons or really realistic looking eyes. Just a little bit of gold that you'll be using for the tips here if you're going to be doing this. If not, then feel free to do what I did here, just a little bit of gold for the horn, and then you can use 2 colors. So it's up to you how you wish to color this. She recommends for the hair, if you want to do it multicolor, she recommends that you make 4 of each color, and she has purple, blue, green, yellow, orange, and pink. So she has 6 colors that she made 4 of each color, and I used 2 up here and 2 on the end. So you can do that, or you can do what I did with this one and just go with all one color. It is completely up to you, but you're not going to be using very much yarn, so just keep in mind that most of the color of the yarn you'll be using is for the body, and it's less than a skein of yarn. And don't forget about the buttons if you want the buttons, or you can just make your own crochet eyes. So having said that, you're going to need to grab your hook. The hook can be anywhere between 3mm and 3.75 millimeter. She recommends 3.75 millimeter size F hook, but I'm using a size 3 millimeter. And the closest to 3 millimeter is 3.25 millimeter, which is a size D. And the kind of yarn I'm using is just regular worsted weight yarn, which is 4 ply for the US and 10 ply for Australia. So grab whatever colors that you want to use to make the hair and the body and the horn and all that stuff, and let's get started. Also, for this tutorial, you're going to need some fiber fill. Okay, first off, we're going to start making the body. So on her pattern, she recommends to use the magic circle loop, but considering most of the videos I make are for tutorials for the beginners or for beginner advanced, I'm going to go ahead and just do the chain 3 method. So go ahead and chain 3, 1, 2, and 3, and then slip stitch in this beginning loop. So then you want to start with a chain of 1, because we're going to be working with single crochets, and working in the loop itself, you want to put, and I'm going to be working over my yarn, my tail here. You want to put 10 single crochets worked in this center loop. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Count your stitches, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Hiding over 1, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Okay. So now for round 2, you want to single crochet 1 and single crochet 2 in the next. So we'll do 1 single crochet and then we'll do 2 in the next until you've reached 15 stitches. And since this is such a small area, I usually just do the count out loud. So remember, you want to do 1 single crochet and then work 2 single crochets in the next stitch, and then 1 single crochet in the next, 2 single crochets in the next, and we'll count together until we have 15 stitches. So we want to begin with 1 single crochet in the next stitch, and this is round 2, by the way. And again, count, I like to count back 10 to make sure I start in the right stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, this is my beginning stitch here. So I'm going to put 1 single crochet in this stitch. Now if you do have a stitch marker, you can use it, or you can get a small piece of yarn to use as a marker with my heart sprinkle hook that I got. And I'm just going to go ahead and clip that into my first stitch. So you can mark it if you want, or just count. So that's my beginning stitch, and that's 1. So make sure which stitch I'm in. This one. Okay, so my next stitch is going to be 2 single crochets, which gives me 3 stitches. 1 single crochet in the next, that's 4. 2 single crochets in the next, that's 6. 1 single crochet in the next, that's 7. 2 in the next, 9. 1 in the next, 10. 2 in the next stitch, that's 12. 1 in the next, that's 13. And 2 in this final stitch, which will give us 15 stitches completely. And this is for the second round. Now for the third round, we're going to be single crocheting in 2 in the next 2 stitches. So we'll do 1 and 2, and then in the following stitch we'll put 2 into the same stitch. So it'll be single crochet 1, single crochet 1, and then single crochet 2 in the same stitch. And at the end of this round, we should have 20 stitches. So I'm going to go ahead and move my marker here. Now I'm just going to count, making sure I'm in the right stitch. Okay, so this will be 1, 2, and then 2 in the same stitch, which gives us 3 and 4. And then 1 in the next 2 stitches, that's 5, that's 6. Now 2 in the next stitch, 7 and 8. Then 1 single crochet in the next 2 stitches, 9 and 10. And then 2 in the same stitch, 11 and 12. And then 1 single crochet in the next 2 stitches, that's 14. And then 2 in the same stitch gives us 16. Then 1 in the next 2 stitches gives us 18. And 2 in the same stitch will give us our 20 stitches that we need. Okay, that's the end of round 3. So for round 4, we'll be doing the same thing. This time we'll be doing 1 single crochet worked in the next 3 stitches, and then do an increase of 2 single crochets that'll be worked in the 4th stitch. At the end of this round, you should have 25 stitches. So let's begin. Putting 1, 2, 3 single crochets worked in a row, and then we'll do our increase in the 4th stitch, which will give us 5 stitches. Then again, work 1 single crochet in the next 3 stitches, which give us 8 stitches. And then in the next, do your increase. That's 10. Now again, 1 single crochet worked in the next 3 stitches, which will give us 13. And then do your increase of 2 in the same stitch, which is 15 stitches. And again, 1 single crochet worked in the next 3 stitches. That's 18. Then 2 worked in the same stitch. Gives us 20. Now we need to do 1 single crochet worked in the next 3 stitches, and then we're going to end this by doing 2 single crochets in the same stitch. And that will be the end of round 4. And count your stitches. Make sure you have 25 stitches all the way around, because this is essentially going to be the width of your unicorn, though it does get wider a little bit as you continue on the rows. It will go a little wider. This isn't like the size of the body. It will get slightly wider. Okay, for rounds 5 through 16, for 12 rounds, we're going to be just repeating single crocheting in these 25 stitches. So for the next 12 rounds, you're just going to be doing single crochet. So you definitely want to mark your spot. So go ahead and do your first single crochet of this round, and then mark it either with a yarn or a stitch marker. I'm going to go ahead and use my stitch marker that I got, my heart sprinkle stitch marker, and I'm just going to put it through these stitches of the very first stitch. Now I know that is my first stitch. Now keep in mind, when you go in the round, your beginning stitch will kind of go to the diagonal. So you can't just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and find your beginning stitch. It doesn't work like that. So go ahead and do like, I guess 11 rounds, and then I'll come back here on my last round and I'll show you how to count to find your beginning stitch again. So first mark this beginning stitch here, and then start your 12 rounds. Okay, I got done with my 11th round, just like I was telling you about, and I wanted to stop to show you how you count your rounds. What you want to do is go back here where you originally marked your stitch. And I'm going to get a little closer here. Now, what you want to do is count diagonally from this stitch that you have. So by row, this is my very first stitch here. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. This is my 11th stitch, and you can see I've stopped short 1. Here is my last stitch worked, so I stopped right before the end. So that is 1 complete round of 11. So if I did 1 more stitch, I'd be starting into my 12th round, and which is what I need to do. I need to make 1 more round. And remember, you're going to go all the way around and you're going to stop here. So just remember, you're counting diagonally. Okay, once you're done with your 12th row, I went around and I did 1 more row here to make it 12. When you count up from your stitch marker, it should be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and ending your row 1 before. That way you have 1 total round of 12. And if you did 1 more stitch, you'd be starting your 13th row. So just remember, when you count to 12 here, that you've done at least 1 more row to get to 1 stitch before, because that's 1 completed row of 12. Now, once you've got that, before you start your decreases, you want to go ahead and grab your fiber fill, this stuff, and start stuffing the body. Now remember, you're still going to have to work on this piece. You're still going to be crocheting on this piece. So don't stuff it so much where when you start to crochet, you're crocheting the stuffing through your stitches. So stuff it fairly good and leave yourself a little bit of space at the top to work on. And you can continue to stuff it row after row. So I'm going to set that fiber fill to the side for now. And I'm ready to do round 17. Now for round 17, get a little closer here. You want to do a decrease and then you'll do 3 single crochets. So to do a decrease, you'll go in through 1 stitch, pull up a loop, then go through the next stitch and pull up a loop. And I hope I'm not too blurry for you. And then you want to get your yarn and pull through all 3 of those loops to complete your decrease. You've just made 2 stitches into 1. Now you want to single crochet 1 in the next 3 stitches, 1, 2, and 3, and then do a decrease again. So go in 1 stitch, pull up a loop, go into the next stitch, pull up a loop, then pull through all 3 of those loops. And then again, do 1 single crochet worked in the next 3 stitches. And I began with a decrease, so it's going to be easy for me to find it, which is here. I should tell you, as soon as you did your very first stitch, you should mark it. It's easy to be able to tell where it is because the first one was a decrease. So I'm going to go ahead and mark my very first stitch here. Sorry I didn't remind you at the beginning. At the end of this round, you're looking at wanting to have 20 stitches at the end. Sorry, I'm trying to make it focus. Okay, so we just did our 3 single crochets, and then we'll do our decrease. So continue to do your decrease, and then 3 single crochets until you reach back up to your stitch marker and you have 20 stitches. Okay, just finished round 17. Now for round 18, you're going to be doing the same thing you did last time. Instead of putting 1, 2, 3 single crochets before you do a decrease, you're only going to be doing 2. So you'll do single crochet, and then a decrease. So in the first stitch, I'm going to go single crochet, second stitch, single crochet, and then you're going to do a single crochet decrease. And then you can move your marker up if you want to mark that very first single crochet, and then repeat 1 single crochet, 2 single crochets, and then you want to do a decrease. So continue that all the way around, and at the end of this round you should have 15 stitches. Okay, for round 19, you want to do 1 single crochet between each decrease. So if you do 1 single crochet, then you'll do a single crochet decrease next. 1 single crochet, 1 single crochet decrease next. And now you notice that your hole is getting pretty small. So I'm going to go ahead and stuff it a little bit more before I close my hole up anymore. If you're wondering what that sound is, it's actually a huge blowtorch. They're putting tar on the bottom of the balconies outside. They're actually getting kind of close to finally finishing up this building next door. Hopefully soon I won't have to tell you about the noise. Okay, I think it's pretty good, this stuffing here. Keep in mind you're still having to crochet, so don't stuff it to where you can't continue. Again, you're just working 1 single crochet and then a decrease. The next round, which is round 20, you'll be doing nothing but decreases, so this is definitely the time to finish your stuffing. I began with a single crochet, so I want to end this round with a decrease. Okay, so my body definitely is good enough stuffed, I think. So I'm going to go ahead and just finish the last round. Round 20 is just decrease all the way around 5 times. So you're just grabbing these. Okay, you can see the hole is getting pretty low. And right around here, it's it's kind of not so stuffed, so I think I'm going to stuff a little bit in here. I really like this hook because you can also use it, little ball on the end of it. This was a steel hook that was given to me by my mother-in-law's mother. So no idea where she got it, but she's been in Israel her whole life, so she must have got it here somewhere. Okay, I'm going to stuff around the sides as well. I think it's pretty good. You want to get that stuffing in there good because, you know, your kid or whoever you're making this for, they're really going to hug that part, you know, the most. They're going to feel the love right there. So you want to make sure it can give, but it's pretty firm. Also keep in mind that stuffing will degrade after a little while, so it will lose a little bit. Okay, that's pretty good. If I stuff it anymore, you're going to be able to see through the stitches a bit more than I would like. Okay, so I'm just going to finish up the decreases at the top. Now, this is my last stitch that I made. Now I'm going to come across to the stitch on the other side, and I'm going to pull through to make a slip stitch. Chain 1. You can remove your stitch marker, and I would grab your tapestry needle. And then I'm going to work down the body a bit, like this. And pull it and cut it as close as you can without cutting the stitches of the body, and there is your body piece. Next, I will show you how to make the head.